All right, on this beautiful day, I'd like to introduce you to Miss Sonya, the project manager for Day in Our Bay.
Thank you, Petla. When I was listening and I heard you say you didn't know why we chose you, I just had to say something. We were looking for music from the region, and that really spoke the region. And so we put out, actually we put this out on Facebook and Twitter, I think on Twitter too, a little call for musicians from the region for this film that we were doing. And we got a few recommendations and suggestions and people, I know this band and that band, and sometimes the bands themselves. But Petla sent in a few clips. One was a very traditional with the drum, was that the Yupik style?
The reindeer herding song. That was the reindeer herding song that I sang on the radio today.
You sent in I Am Created, which has that Russian Orthodox eerie feel. And I was familiar with that kind of sound, so I knew that that spoke the region. Plus those words, I am created from my river.
From my land. And the second lyrics is I am created from my river.
I want you to know I went around singing that to myself for a while when I heard it. And when I heard that, I knew we had to have your music. But you had another one, and that was a modern rap.
Yeah, it's a hip-hop. It's a song that came to me as I was walking up the hill in Dillingham from the post office up to my neighborhood. And it was a morning like this when the sun was shining, and I was looking at the sky, and this song hit me. It was like, the chorus mainly is, I want to live, I want to live. And at the time I was struggling with alcohol, and I was losing myself in my drinking, and so I wanted to figure out how I can get my life back and really live, because I wasn't living, I was sort of living in a daze or in a dream or in this fake world, and if I could just sober up, that amazing things would happen in my life, and I would start to live. So I wrote the song, I Want to Live. One of these days, I'm going to come up with a beat. I'm going to rise to my feet. I'm going to get my seat. I'm the chairman of the board. I'm going to do all the things I was meant to do. And I'm going to rise high. I'm going to do it fly. And I'm going to because I know why. It's my family history. And I got to fly way up in the sky. Because I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep my head up, going to the top. I don't really give a what anybody else thinks. I'm gonna keep doing my thing, keep letting my voice ring all up on the microphone, hydroplaning in the rain and falling asleep at the wheel. I gotta keep on going and I can't stop. And that's just a part of the song. And at the time I was in a recording studio in Maui when I did that.
You're still not sure why we'd pick somebody multi-talented who can cross cultures and speak of the reality of life in the region?
I guess I'm just really diverse because I have an older brother who likes Metallica, a sister who likes Jewel, another sister who likes Rod Stewart, and another sister who likes Alison Krauss, and my dad who likes Jim Morris, and my mom likes Tanya Tucker, and they all listen to it, and so I was subjected to all this crazy music growing up. Plus my Russian Orthodox church was the only time I got to sing, and I guess just the whole broad spectrum of music I was brought up with as the youngest in my family, and whereas all my brothers and sisters were kind of confined to their own taste, and I just sort of inherited all this music from each sibling.
I saw so much flexibility in that because I was originally thinking I want it all, do a little bit of each kind of music, but it really came down to that I Am Created snippet just spoke so much about the value that the people have in the. We asked people to share what they value most about the land, their culture, and the people around them, and that just spoke directly to that. I actually insisted that we get this, and then I found out the original recordings weren't usable the way they were, and we had to get you in and record, and I'm glad we didn't scare you away.
Yeah, I was pretty terrified. she wanted it. You know, it had to be done. You guys were on a time budget, and you guys sort of put me in this position where I had to get this done right away. So I was like kind of freaking out, but I'm glad that everything worked out fine, and we're doing this here in this beautiful country.
I'm glad too, and I don't know, I didn't know this about you at the time, but I've since learned, since getting to know you so well here, but I since learned that Petla is also a motivational speaker, or you aspire to be, and I just am so hopeful that this gives you the opportunity to go and practice that. And you see all the public speaking that we're having to do on this trip. So that to me, I think, is a beautiful outcome. What we did is we sent out a number of video cameras. There was a video contest where over 100 video cameras were sent out throughout the region. And you know, you have a contest, you say, you send in your postcard, we'll send you a camera. We did that to every household in the region. We knew we weren't going to get every single one back, but we got more than half of those back. The next step was we sent out what we called the video mentors, and these were professional videographers, and they went to 11 communities. Now, all through the stage, I understand, Petla, you knew about this, and you were planning to participate, but he came up with this very elaborate idea and didn't end up sending in his. I didn't know of him at the time. And we got all of these other entries in. We worked with a filmmaker, Affinity Films. Mary Kotsky of Affinity Films worked with us to put all of this footage into a 15-minute film. That's just a powerful statement about how people of the region, Bristol Bay region of Alaska, these Alaska Natives value the land, their cultures, and the people. And at that point, we're looking for music, but we were, frankly, we didn't have a lot of local options at that point, and the filmmaker had been looking to use somebody else, non-local, and I said, I really, really want to commit to using music from the region. So that's when we put out that casting call. And Petla's role in this was that his response spanned the gamut from, he had 3 pieces. One that was a rap piece, or hip hop. One that was, I don't know what you'd call the one we use, the I Am Created, but that sort of mystical sounding Russian Orthodox tribute to the land. And then the third one that was the Yupik drum, very traditional. And I was really taken by that. Actually, everybody who heard those was. So that was when Petla became involved, and I was so glad that in essence this gave you a second chance to be in the movie, and you've become this pivotal part of it. So yeah, I think I've told the brief Reader's Digest version of the film. I call myself a project manager, and I was never sure what the filmmaker title is. Am I a co-producer or a co-director? I was involved in a number of the creative decisions. It was my idea to send out the cameras in the first place, but then there were many other people involved in a lot of the choices we made after that. So, you know, it became hard to figure out what's the official role. So I called myself project manager because I managed that project from the point when it was just a contest. There was no film. You know, there was no video yet. And this is a project that continues on beyond making this film. I mean, this video's out there, and for me, it's not about the video. For Bristol Bay Native Corporation, it's not about the video. It's about this opportunity to bring the region to the world, and to bring the world to the region. And part of that is giving Alaska Natives from the region the opportunity to see other parts of the world and to tell the stories from where they grew up. You know, what is it like where I live? I think you can't even begin to understand unless you can see and experience some of this. And as one of the shareholders in our movie says, he says about the youth that they only know some of these things through cameras. Well, that's the same thing here. The rest of the world is only going to know some of these things about this part of Alaska through cameras. Even in Alaska, it's not an easy place to get to, but it's a beautiful place and it's worth knowing about. I have traveled to a few small film festivals so far. Well, we've actually we premiered at Anchorage International Film Festival in our hometown. One of the other places that I traveled to with the film was Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And that was fantastic because it was an Indigenous film festival, and there was an opportunity to share this film with other Indigenous filmmakers. A lot of people said the film was inspirational to them. Now we're here at the Port Townsend Film Festival, and I have to say this has been a fantastic and exciting experience. We have had something to do almost every hour that has actually whisked us away from, unfortunately, the opportunity to see other films. But on the other hand, it's just been amazing to see the interest in our film, the high level of organization of this film festival. This is a well-run ship, I'll just say that. To have an Alaska Native from Bristol Bay treated like a celebrity coming down the street in a shiny red sports car from the 1950s, and then he gets out and Petla realizes everyone's looking at him, and he's realizes he's got to wave now and accept the accolades. People cheered. The impact of that is just going to be incredible. Not only for him, but for all the people back home, back in the Bristol Bay region, to hear that. So this has been a special festival. I'm being asked what I'd like to say to the organizers of the festival and the volunteers that help it run, and the first thing I felt was just overwhelming guilt. I would like to apologize sincerely for being your troubled child. I'm sure many people here feel that way. Not about me personally, I hope, but about themselves. Every time I've called and asked for help or explained that I'm not going to be where I said I was going to be, and therefore will not need the ride from point A to point B, but I will need a ride from C to D, they've come through, and nobody got disappointed or upset or swore at me. So that's wonderful. I think there's just a fantastic army of organizers here, and I would just like to say thank you.